Good evening from Windsor Raceway. Coming up, a full-fledged card of spring racing featuring many of the finest trotters and pacers from Ontario and Michigan next here on Pass.
From Windsor Raceway, Pro-Am Sports Systems presents a Windsor Night at the Races. A Windsor Night at the Races is brought to you by the more than 7,000 members of the Ontario Harness Horsemen's Association. And now, here is your Windsor Raceway host, Frank Salive.
Welcome once again to our Windsor Night at the Races here on Pass Cable. Spring racing, to be sure, one of the highest temperatures thus far in our racing season. As the post-parade comes toward us for the first race, it is plus 12 degrees Celsius. That is 53 Fahrenheit. Track condition listed as fast by the judges. Many of the finest in the Midwest are gathered here this evening for our race program. Joining me at trackside is Windsor Raceway's track publicist, my longtime colleague in racing, Ken Quinn.
Well, it hasn't been that long, Frank. We aren't really that old. You had mentioned about the racing card tonight. Race Office hit us real hard in the first two races. We've got a $9,300 open pace, and then, of course, we've got the high claimers, the $37,000 to $45,000 claimers in the second race. A real great-looking card once again.
Let's talk about the aspect of all of the invaders. Many from Toronto are here. Dave Wall has many from London here who achieved great prominence in North America last year.
Dave Wall is one of the few, when you have people ship in from other tracks that are not used to a track surface such as we have here, they sometimes have some difficulty. Dave Wall has no difficulty whatsoever on this track.
We should also mention, along those lines, Norm McKnight Jr.
Yeah, Norm has been a campaigner here for a number of years, left to go to the Toronto circuit, and it's always a pleasure to see Norm back.
Well, the first race is now going in behind the starting gate. Let's go up top for the call. Here is your Windsor Night at the Races announcer, Marty Adler, for the race description.
The starting gate is all set to go. 6 horses facing Glenn Campbell as the gate now begins to roll. The gate is moving. It'll be Popfly, Cedarwood George, and Dreamer Wood, Spring Dream, Just a Vince, and Marywood Tyrone on the outside. It's post time for the first. Well, the horse that everybody has to beat is the one on the rail. That's Popfly, owned by Rocco Rogers from Michigan. Popfly won 2 in a row. Then last week, Spit and Polish put him away. Although Popfly now dropped a little notch here from the Invitational to the Open, he certainly is the one to down, especially if Bill Gale's on top. He cuts out his own mile. Now, the sleeper here is the horse from Greenwood, number 2, Cedarwood George. He's raced the best there. He could be tough. Dreamer Wood, of course, has had a layoff of a week, but he's raced the best here as well. First race moving through the backstretch, and there they go. They're off and pacing. It's Popfly driving out for the lead. Cedarwood George on the inside second. Dreamer Wood on the outside third. Spring Dream fourth. Just a Vince fifth. Marywood Tyrone sixth. They've all settled down in their numbered order. Number 1, Popfly with the lead. Number 2, Cedarwood George second. Dreamer Wood, the 3 horses third. Spring Dream fourth. Just a Vince fifth. Marywood Tyrone is sixth. Settle down as they move on to the quarter pole. On top, it's Popfly leading the way by a length and a half. Cedarwood George is second. They reach the quarter in 29 and 4. Pacing off the turn to the stretch for the first time. Pace picks up a little. Popfly opens up 2 lengths now on Cedarwood George. On the inside, racing third is Dreamer Wood. Spring Dream is fourth. Just a Vince fifth. Marywood Tyrone sixth. No change as the horses head for the clubhouse turn. It's Popfly with a 2-length lead. Cedarwood George on the inside second. Pacing up third is Dreamer Wood. Spring Dream is fourth. Just a Vince and Marywood Tyrone. They reach the half in a minute flat, and out comes Dreamer Wood. Pacing on around the paddock turn with the lead, Popfly by 2. Cedarwood George on the inside second. Dreamer Wood up on the outside now takes over second as they straighten out down the back stretch. With the lead, it's Popfly by 2 lengths. Dreamer Wood on the outside. Down at the rail is Cedarwood George. Moving up fourth is Spring Dream. Just a Vince is fifth. Marywood Tyrone is sixth. On to the 3/4 pole, it's Popfly with the lead. The 3/4 in 1:28 and 2. And Popfly opens up 2.5 lengths now. It's Popfly with the lead. Cedarwood George on the inside. Racing on the outside is Dreamer Wood as they move off the turn and into the stretch. With the lead by 3 lengths now, it's Popfly. Popfly on top and pulling away. On through the lane they come. Popfly with the lead. Cedarwood George racing second. Down to the wire, it's Popfly, and here they are. What a piece of cake. This horse is sharp now. Number 1, Pop Fly, going off at 6-5. Defeats the horse that got the trip. Number 2, Cedarwood George, at 8-5. Here comes Bill Gale into the winner's circle for Rocco Rogers Jr. of St. Clair Shores, Michigan. Pop Fly wins it wire to wire. Rather leisurely first half in a minute. Came home in 57-2. Here he is winning it by 4 or 5 lengths, and he did it with ease. The whip is over Bill Gale's shoulder. A piece of cake for Pop Fly in the first race tonight. Pop Fly returned for 62.60, Number 2, Cedarwood George, 290.70, and the 4-horse Spring Dream up for third, paid $3.60. The 1-2 exactor paid $11.
Well, that certainly was the case of being in the advantageous position to win. Pop Fly, life's record, last half in 57-2, the mile in 1:57-2. So we look forward to more quick miles based on that little precedent set right there. One of our more popular features here on a Windsor Night at the Races on Pass is Question of the Week. We've had such a response, we want to answer a whole bunch of your questions in rapid-fire fashion right now. So, Ken, first of all of you, I'm going to ask, coming from Frank King of Lincoln Park, Michigan, why doesn't Windsor have a carryover bet?
Carryover bet. Okay, first we'll explain what a carryover bet is. If you have a gimmick, for example, the Twin Try, we used to have something called a Super 6 or a Win 6, Sweep 6, where part of the money you wager and it's carried over to the next night, keeps carrying the money over until somebody picks the correct number of winners. What we found here, Frank, is that people would put their money into it night after night, week after week. They felt that they didn't have a good opportunity to win it because other people with more money would come in when the pot was built up quite high and take all the winnings. So we figured it's best to distribute the money each night, whatever gimmick you're having, and that way the money is back into the patron's hands immediately.
So in the case of the Win 4, which is effectively a carryover bet, even the Daily Double is a form of that, it's always awarded on a same-night basis.
Exactly. I've got one for you from Klaus Vakantans of Windsor, Ontario, and Klaus wants to know, why do some horses perform better when there's a fast pace as opposed to a slow pace?
Basically because horses are individuals. Some of them like to get out there and rolling, as they say. And the usual situation that you'll see a horse like a fast pace is if they go down to the half fast. And then he has a chance to close up on the tiring horses when they come home. So it's just as simple as horses being individuals in the same manner as human beings. Now I have one for you, Ken, from Aaron Sullivan of Lincoln Park, Michigan. Does Marty Adler still drive harness horses when he is not in the booth announcing?
Marty drives while he's announcing. If you watch him announce a race, you see him like this as he's calling. No, I'm just kidding. He doesn't do that. No. For those of us that do know Marty, Marty's got an awful hectic schedule, and Marty would not have... The only time he could drive harness horses, probably with his schedule now, is in his sleep. No, Marty does not drive horses any longer.
I will say this, back in the 1970s decade, Marty was successful. He won his fair share, percentage-wise, and he was very capable at it. Now he has gone on to other pursuits.
Bigger and better things, as
Absolutely.
he says. Question from Edmund Claypool of Detroit, Michigan. If he wins that big one at Windsor Raceway, can he take a check home?
I believe the answer is yes. If you win a large amount of money here at Windsor Raceway, you can go to the supervisor of mutuals and ask for your payment via certified check. And once again, we'd like to remind you, our American friends, that unlike the United States, where you are taxed on your winnings under certain circumstances, all racetrack winnings in Canada are absolutely tax-free. The other attraction for you right now is that the US dollar is worth approximately 40% more than the Canadian dollar. Final question for you now, Ken, and this comes from Mike and Eileen Malik of Bay City, Michigan. Didn't know they had pass up there, but nice to hear from Bay City, Michigan. How can one become a member of the Windsor Raceway Horse Players Club?
Good question. To become a member of the Windsor Raceway Horse Players Club, hopefully you'll come to the track and visit us sometime. If you do visit us, stop off at the lottery counter. That lottery counter is located on the first floor of the grandstand. It's absolutely free. We get your full identification and sign up. If you can't make it to the track and you'd like to sign up for the Horse Players Club, just drop us a card. We'll add you to the list.
Another of our popular features on a Windsor Night at the Races on Pass is our Pick a Winner contest. Very simple to do. Send us a postcard with your favorite post position number on it. You get in line to win our jackpot. We're bringing a jackpot of $30 into tonight's races. Ken?
Our contestant is Louis Scarbo. He's from Windsor, Ontario. Has picked post position number 6, and that horse is Kawartha Sandy.
I know this horse personally, and I know he can pace a quarter under 28 seconds flat. And he looks like a pretty good competitor in this field. Let's see how it turns out with Marty's call.
Here's a comfortable-looking family in the clubhouse this evening. The weather is fine outside, and the weather is fine inside as well. And the air-conditioned comfort of the clubhouse, and you do almost need air conditioning tonight. It is so balmy here at the track. The gate is now rolling. It'll be Dust Dallas, Harrier Jet, and PJ Smokey, Legal Gamble, Rebel Count, and Kawartha Sandy on the outside. It's post time for the second. This is really a terrific card here at the track this evening. This class is $37,000 to $45,000 claiming Pacers. The favorite is the number 1 horse, Duff's Dallas. He's the favorite in the daily double as well. The 3-horse PJ Smokey on the board at 5 to 2. A lot of the classier horses have come in from the Jockey Club, but they will be leaving from what I've just heard. They've just saw of the strike at Greenwood Raceway in Toronto. So a lot of the horses that have shipped in from Greenwood will be heading back home as their box enters, as they will race again starting on Tuesday night. Second race now moving through the backstretch, and there they go. They're off and pacing. On the outside, that's Rebel Cat driving out for the lead. In between horses is PJ Smokey, Harrier Jet down at the rail. Now PJ Smokey to take over. Rebel Cat on the outside second, Harrier Jet at the rail third. Kawartha Sandy moves up fourth. That's Legal Gamble fifth and Dust Dallas sixth as they pace around the turn. Rebel Count now on top by a length. On to the quarter pole they go. Rebel Count on top in action from the center of the field. That's Kawartha Sandy out and on the move. The quarter in 29 seconds. Kawartha Sandy charges up on the outside now to take over the lead. It's Kawartha Sandy now on top. Rebel Count paces second. PJ Smokey third. In at the rail fourth is Harrier Jet on the move on the outside. Now comes Legal Gamble, followed by Duff's Dallas. There goes PJ Smokey to the outside as the horses pace into the clubhouse turn. Lots of action heading to the half. With the lead, it's Kawartha Sandy on the inside. PJ Smokey edging up on the outside. They hit the half in 59 and 2. Pacing on around the paddock turn. Kawartha Sandy on the inside has the lead. PJ Smokey on the outside a half a length away. Rebel Count at the rail paces third. On the outside, Legal Gamble fourth. In at the rail fifth is Harrier Jet. On the outside sixth is Duff's Dallas. Only 3.5 lengths separate the whole field as they head for the three-quarter pull. With the lead, it's Kawartha Sandy on the inside. On the outside is PJ Smokey. The three-quarters in 1:29 and 3. On around the turn, Legal Gamble goes 3 wide. It's Kawartha Sandy with the lead by 3/4 of a length. PJ Smokey second. Rebel Count at the rail looks for a little room. On the extreme outside is Legal Gamble. They're off the turn. Kawartha Sandy opens up 2. On through the lane. Kawartha Sandy on top. On the outside, second Rebel Count. And on the extreme outside, Legal Gamble and Harrier Jet. It's Kawartha Sandy. The number 6 horse, Kawartha Sandy, makes it look easy. He goes off at 9 till 1. Finishing second was number 2, Harrier Jet at 7 to 2. And the 1 horse, the favorite, finished third at 9 to 5. Here's Kawartha Sandy moving into the winner's circle, owned by Lon Francione of Syracuse, New York. Norm McKnight had just qualified this horse at Greenwood in February, and he makes it look simple in winning this race. He's got a $37,000 price tag on his head, but I think it's the last you'll see of him. Windsor Horseman will be happy of that. He'll be heading back to Greenwood starting next week. Kawartha Sandy, the winner in 158 and 4. He returned 2020 834.70. Number 2, Harrier Jet 473.80, and the 1 horse Duff's Dallas 290. The exactor paid 124.80, and tonight's daily double of 1 and 6 paid 71.20.
Back-to-back race miles under 159 to begin our program this evening, and a successful contestant in our Pick-A-Winner contest. Kawartha Sandy indeed gets the job done for Louis Scarbo of Windsor, and he picks up our jackpot of $30. We'll be reverting back to our starting jackpot of $20 and playing our Pick-A-Winner contest on Windsor Night at the Races here on Pass a little bit later. Still to come, the third race and much more racing and features when we're back with you in a moment.
The early days of harness racing were great. Racing at the county fairs was always a highlight of the summer. The sport was destined to succeed and improve. It was 23 years ago when a group of 400 joined together to form the Ontario Harness Horsemen's Association. Their aim was to represent the horsemen on matters of track conditions and purses, and just about anything that was related to harness racing. Well, today, with over 7,000 active members, the sport is thriving, and the OHHA is fulfilling its commitment. Lazar's Furs of Windsor continues their 61st January fur sale, now held over. A fully replenished stock of distinctive fashions from the world's most fabulous designers. Save 20 to 40%, plus full exchange on U.S. funds, and duty is refundable. Lazar's, 493 Olette Avenue, in the heart of the downtown mall, Windsor. A breeder's quiz. What do these horses have in common? Ralph Hanover, Cam Fella, on the road again. They're all American bred and Canadian owned. The Canadian market, not to be taken lightly. Last year alone, Canadians spent over $13 million purchasing horses in American sales rings. And the best way to get your message to this important market? The Canadian Sportsman, the oldest turf journal in America. Everyone's reading it. Harness racing is an entertaining and exciting sport, but sometimes the unexpected happens. Your horse is a valuable asset to you. Protect your investment with the company that has served the industry for over 35 years. Park Insurance. When it comes to integrity and dependability, Park Insurance leads the way. Call Brian Webster or Ray Bednars for all the answers. Toll free at 1-800-265-9933. U.S. residents call collect at 519-756-4628.
Well, on any given night here at Windsor Raceway, we pride ourselves on the fact that upwards of 60% of our clientele is our American friends. And we're also finding more and more that people from other parts of Ontario are coming to Windsor Raceway. Meet Cindy Green of Orangeville. Cindy, what attracts you to Windsor Raceway?
My horses race here.
And what's his name?
Triple R Sam. Well, I don't really own him, but he's my favorite.
How do you see this third race?
I like Shadow's Countess because she was second last week, only beat by 2 1/4 lengths.
That seems to be the public's choice as well. Cindy, nice to have you down here in Windsor. Now let's go up top with Marty for the call.
It's a spring weekend here at Windsor Raceway. The clubhouse is packed, so is the grandstand downstairs. Everybody besides getting racing action has got an opportunity of winning some fabulous prizes here at the clubhouse tonight. The gate is rolling. It'll be Flyby Jonathan, Nifty Cat, and Cool Wave, Whistler's Tribute, Imperial Way, and Shadow Caddis, Simply Sugar, First Deduction, and Delbertros on the outside. It's post time for the third. As they come to the post, the 9-5 favorite is the number 6 horse, Shadow Caddis. Now, she's been racing mostly fillies and mares. She moves in now to race against the boys, so that could be a bit of a phony favorite. Now I see she's the second choice, and they've made number 4, Whistler's Tribute, the 4-year-old horse by River Captain, the favorite with Bev Haywood aboard. The third race is now moving through the backstretch. And there they go. They're off and pacing. It's Flyby Jonathan at the rail. Now driving out in the center of the track comes Imperial Way. Imperial Way charges out to take the lead. Flyby Jonathan on the inside second. Up on the outside third is Simply Sugar. Whistler's Tribute at the rail paces up fourth. Nifty Count on the inside fifth. Albatross on the outside is sixth. Moving seventh is Coal Wave. Eighth and going to the outside now is Shadow Countess and First Deduction ninth. Pacing onto the quarter pole, Imperial Way on top, the quarter in 29 2. They're off the turn into the stretch. Imperial Way fronts the field by 1. On the outside, Simply Sugar paces up second. In at the rail, Flyby Jonathan is third. Moving up fourth, Whistler's Tribute. Fifth up on the outside now comes Shadow Caddis. In at the rail, sixth is Nifty Count. Moving up seventh on the outside is Coal Wave. Eighth is Delbertros and First Deduction ninth. Pacing into the clubhouse turn, it's Imperial Way with the lead by a full length now, reaching the half in a minute flat. Imperial Way on top, getting the trip at the rail, Flyby Jonathan second, and roughing it on the outside is Simply Sugar pacing third. Now taking over third at the rail is Whistler's Tribute. Going 3 wide down the backstretch is Shadow Caddis. They're heading for the 3/4. Imperial Way leads by 2. Flyby Jonathan second. Shadow Caddis up on the outside takes over third. In at the rail, Whistler's Tribute is fourth as they approach the 3/4 pole. Imperial Way on top by 2. The 3/4 in 1:30 and 4. Pacing on around the turn with the lead. By 2 lengths, it's Imperial Way. Shadow Countess edging up on the outside second. Down at the rail, Flyby Jonathan now looks for room. Moving to the outside fourth is Whistler's Tribute. They're off the turn and into the stretch. Imperial Way has the lead by 2 lengths. Shadow Countess up on the outside second. Down to the wire, Imperial Way with Shadow Countess and Coal Wave on the outside. Down to the wire, Imperial Way and Coal Wave, and here they are. The number 5 horse, Imperial Way, goes off at 7-1. The 3 horse, Coal Wave, finishes second at 9-1. And Shadow Countess finishes up third. Here's Imperial Way in the winner's circle right now. He is a black 9-year-old gelding by Goodenough. This is a former invitational pacer here at the track, getting a little aged now. He's 9 years old. And he hangs on to win this one over Coal Wave, closing up on the far outside with Shadow Countess between horses. Imperial Way returned 17-10, 963.90. Number 3, Coal Wave, 11-20, 570. And the 6 horse, Shadow Countess, paid $250 to show. The exactor, $148.40. And the triactor paid $348.80.
Down in the winner's circle following that race with the man who has been a great ambassador for harness racing over his years, winning driver, George Robinson. George, you put him in the lead and let him go from there. Tell us about the race.
Well, he likes the front anyways. He's never been really good in the hole, and I made the front tonight, and it was just a matter of who outlegged who, really.
For those of you watching from outside of the Windsor area, you should know that the $5,000 claimers are the lowest price claimers on the grounds, yet you went down to the 3/4 and won 30 and 4. Did you want to go that much to the 3/4?
Well, he's a funny horse. Like, if you let him slow down, he'll take advantage of it, and he'll come back and get lazy on him. As long as you're chasing him and you got him running, he likes it a lot better, and he likes it when he's ahead of the horses the whole mile.
So he's got to be out front and rolling.
Yeah, really, he does.
Let's ask you something personal. You gave up driving for a little bit earlier this year because of a shoulder injury. It must obviously be healed by now.
Definitely healed.
George, thank you and congratulations. Super winning drive.
Thank you.
George Robinson, winning driver with Imperial Way, now up into the clubhouse. Here's Ken.
Time now for our track jargon segment here on A Night at the Races. Normally Frank and I take a stab at these, but with this time we've gone to a veteran reinsman, Richard Carroll, to answer the definition, head pole.
This is a burr head pole. It's used, it snaps at the front up onto the head halter, onto a ring, back to the back band, and it's used to control the horse, to help steer him in the turns. Or most horses, a lot of horses bore in on the bends and out in the turns, and so if they bear in, you put them on the left. If they bear out, you put them on the right. Sometimes you put them on the right and the left. Horses often go in the turns and out a little in the straight, and we use an extra ring and put a burr on probably both sides of a lot of horses.
We have a new name at the top of our driver standings this week. The top 3 very seldom change. They usually juggle around between 1, 2, and 3 amongst themselves. These are all names that you will be familiar with, those of you in Detroit. Leading the driver standings this week at Windsor Raceway is Kevin Wallace, followed closely by Bill Gale, Ron Henderson, Terry Kerr, and Ken Hardy. Then rounding out the top 10 are Dan Johnson, Rod Duford, Randy Kerr in 8th place this week, Bryce Fenn, and Bev Haywood holding down 10th spot.
Well, we're all set now to play Pick a Winner for this 4th race. Our jackpot starts again at $20. We had a winner earlier this evening, and our contestant is Gordon R. Dunn. Now, Gordon comes all the way from Talladega, Alabama. He's picked post position number 7. That horse is Sea Baron.
As the horses for the 4th race come posted, we'll tell you there are many interesting aspects to this race. We mentioned at the top of the show about the numerous ship-ins from Toronto and elsewhere around Ontario and the Midwest. The number 5 horse is one of the great aged invitational pacers from our province of Ontario. His name is Pro Fighter, in rein to Dave Wall, a driver who perennially wins upwards of 300 races, driving all right here in Ontario. Also, the number 2 horse, I think, is a bit of a long shot for what he really should be. His name is Shadow's Fling, and he took a life's record of 157 in the invitational ranks here last year. The number 1 horse is also a Toronto ship-in by the name of Proud Heritage, and he has been made the odds-on favorite. So we're going to see if the odds-on favorite is in fact the best in this field. It should be a great one. The class of the race is for non-winners of $4,000 their last 5 starts. If I had to put a claiming tag on these horses, I'd say they're worth in the $50,000 to $60,000 range. Let's see how it turns out with Marty's call.
This fourth race now has a horse in it, in from the Jockey Club again, who is on the board as the favorite. The number 1 horse, Proud Heritage, at 4-5. Here's a horse that made $36,000 last year, well bred. He's by Governor Skipper out of a bred Hanover mare. Qualified against a horse that won a big race at Hazel Park, Morning Joy. Proud Heritage making his 3rd start this year. Fourth race moving through the backstretch, and there they go. They're off and pacing. It's Proud Heritage on the inside, driving out for the lead. Charging up on the far outside comes High Viscosity. High Viscosity on the outside now to take over. Proud Heritage on the inside, paces up second. Moving up on the inside now, third around the turn is Shadows Fling. And make that hit time as they pace on around the turn with the lead now. High Viscosity by 1. Proud Heritage is second. Hit time moves up third on the inside, fourth. Around the turn is Hope to Trot. They reach the quarter in 29-4. Pacing off the turn to the stretch, it's High Viscosity on top by 2. Proud Heritage on the inside, second. Hit time third. Now Hope to Trot heads to the outside as they pass in front of the grandstand. With the lead now on the inside, it's High Viscosity. Charging up on the outside is Hit Time to take over the lead. Hope to Trot moves up right behind as the horses pace to the clubhouse turn. It's Hit Time with the lead by 1. High Viscosity paces up second. On the outside, Hope to Trot. They're at the half in a minute and 1/5. Pacing on around the paddock turn with the lead by 2 lengths. It's Hit Time. On the inside, second is High Viscosity. Hope to Trot on the outside, third. On the outside, fourth, as they straighten out down the backstretch is Energy Fuel. They're heading for the 3/4 pole. With the lead by 2 lengths, it's Hit Time on the outside now. Hope to Trot is second. In at the rail, pacing third, High Viscosity. The horses reach the 3/4 in 1:29-1. Moving on around the turn, it's Hit Time, stretching out to a 2-length lead. High Viscosity on the inside, second. Hope to Trot races third. As they pace off the turn into the stretch, Hit Time with the lead. High Viscosity is second. Racing third, Proud Heritage. As they move off the turn into the stretch, Hit Time with the lead. Racing up on the outside now comes Proud Heritage. On through the stretch, it's Hit Time with Proud Heritage on the outside, taking the lead, and here they are. Proud Heritage ends up as the heavy favorite, going off at 4-5, but he almost blows this one, winning it in 1:58-4. Hit Time finishing second at 9-2, and Pro Fighter finishing third. Ted Jacobs leaving the winner's circle right now with this Governor Skipper colt. He almost blew it because he didn't know the inexpensive horses that were in this race. He almost got trapped in until the hole opened up at the head of the lane, and out he blew. Proud Heritage is tight now and ready to go back to Greenwood and win there as well. He wins it over number 3 Hit Time. Proud Heritage returned 380, 320, 280. Number 3 Hit Time 490, 380, and the 5-horse Pro Fighter 630. The exactor 1430, and the triactor paid 137.30.
Our pick-a-winner contestant there was not successful. Number 7, C. Barron, making his first start of 1986, just getting a little tightener there out of the Greg Wright stable. But that was certainly one of the most interesting participants we had in our contest. That was Gordon Dunn of Talladega, Alabama. Gordon, you'll be receiving 2 daily passes to Windsor Raceway. And we sincerely hope that you can make it up I-75 to see us up here sometime. Thank you for watching on the Westar 5 satellite Sunday evenings at 10 for a Windsor night at the races. Time now for our guest race analyst segment, just back from the practice fairway earlier today. This is Susan Green of Detroit. Susan, how did it feel to finally get the golf clubs back in the hands today?
Oh, it felt great after a long winter.
Sure was. We have seen you around Windsor Raceway for quite some time now. How many years have you been a fan of the harness races here?
Oh, about 6 years.
So we suspect that you will be very adept at selecting the winner of this 5th race. How do you see it?
Well, I like Irestone Tie from the workouts, and behind the 3-horse, I like the 4 and the 6.
Just to pursue your point there about watching warm-ups, how do you watch them, and what things do you look for?
Well, I watch them when they work out 2 races before their race, and I just look at them on the track and how they look next to the horses that they're racing against. If they're 2 or 3 together, sometimes they're just by themselves. I don't know a lot about analyzing them, but you can tell if a horse looks lame or if they look sound I just use my judgment based on how they look on the track.
Well,
and
based
go
on
from there.
On the language you use, it sounds as though you've spent some time around the farm and some time around the horses as well. And we like your selection here, Ironstone Tie, trained by Bob McIntosh. For those of you who are West Star 5 viewers, will tell you that this is a 4-year-old son of Tyler B, going to be driven here by Dave Wall. Let's see how Susan's selection turns out.
Some nice horses in this 5th race. The favorite, number 1, Noble Talent, on the board at 9-5. Here's another horse in from the Jockey Club in Toronto, and they make him the favorite here. Somehow, this 5-horse Camel Knees raced in the Invitational last night. I saw something. I can't remember what it was I saw, but I knew his next start he will be better. And that is tonight. He's on the board at 5-2. And number 7, Sterling Hanover, another horse in from the Jockey Club. When he raced here, he won 2 races going wire to wire. And he handled them pretty well. He's got a shot here as well. He's outside in the 7th hole. 5th race now moving through the backstretch. And there they go. They're off and pacing as they leave the gate in the center of the track. That's Camel Knees driving out for the lead. Moving up on the inside, Noble Talent is second. Camel Knees on the outside, and slipping in between horses now is Ironstone Tie. They're 3 wide in that first turn. Ironstone Tie between horses now to take the lead. In at the rail, pacing up second is Noble Talent. On the outside, Camel Knees third. Moving up on the inside now, fourth as they pace around the turn is Pebbles. They reach the quarter in 28-2. Off the turn into the stretch, Ironstone Tie has the lead by a length. Racing up second is Noble Talent. And Noble Talent now goes to the outside in front of the grandstand. Noble Talent up to regain the lead on the outside. Racing second on the inside, Ironstone Tie. Camel Knees paces third. Pebbles on the inside fourth. Racing up fifth is Czar's Boy. From the rear, Sterling Hanover is on the move. As the horses move into the clubhouse turn, Bimini J trails. With the lead by a length and a half, it's Noble Talent reaching the half in 59-3. Moving on around the turn, Noble Talent has the lead by a length and a half. Ironstone Tie is second. Camel Knees paces third. Sterling Hanover edges up on the outside now fourth as they straighten out down the back stretch. Sterling Hanover now charging up on the outside, goes on after Noble Talent. They're heading for the 3/4 pole. On the inside, Noble Talent. On the outside, Sterling Hanover. Ironstone Tie down and at the rail. Czar's Boy on the outside now fourth. They reach the 3/4 in 1:30-3. Pacing around the turn, Noble Talent has the lead. Sterling Hanover on the outside, second. Ironstone Tie third. Camel Knees now fourth at the rail. Pacing on around the turn, it's Noble Talent with the lead. On the outside, Sterling Hanover is second. They're off the turn into the stretch. It's Noble Talent with the lead. Up on the outside now comes Camel Knees through the stretch. Down to the wire, Camel Knees up on the outside. Ironstone Tie on the inside. Camel Knees. Well, last week I thought I imagined Camel Knees full of pace with nowhere to go through the stretch. So this week I put my money where my imagination was, on Camel Knees, the winner. Here he is into the winner's circle right now, a 5-year-old horse by GT Skipper. He's owned by William McLean of Curwood, Ontario, trained by Glenn Kotick. There's Bryce Fenn. He drove him to victory. Lucky to get out through the stretch, but then he came charging up on the outside to win it by a half a length. Camel Knees, the winner of the 5th race. And he returned $790, $380, $320. Finishing second, number 3 Ironstone Tie, $343, and the 2-horse Pebbles, $530. The exactor of 5 and 3 paid $26.20.
Back with Susan Green, this week's guest race analyst on a Windsor Night at the Races here on Pass. Susan, you were just photoed out there, the horse you liked on top.
Yes, I was. I selected the 3-horse, and the 3 came in second. It was a fast quarter, that is the first quarter, and he may have used up too much horse in the beginning and didn't have enough right at the end, but he did come in second, so it wasn't too bad.
I know I've not allowed you here to get the complete race night experience because I've deprived you of watching a few workouts. How handy is that as a handicapping tool for you, watching workouts?
Oh, it's a very valuable tool because you want to know what the horse looks like if you're going to be betting on him, and you can watch them work out and see if they look sound or lame, or if they have a lot of speed, etc. And the best time to do that is, I feel, in their workout 2 races before the race, and then again I like to watch them when they come out right before the race.
Susan, thank you for guesting with us, and thank you for the knowledge about watching workouts and watching the horses on the track as well.
Thank you.
We'll be right back with more of a Windsor Night at the Races here on Pass in a moment.
The foundation of the harness racing industry is the breeding. It's a simple fact. You breed the best to the best. Wilson Farms of Tupperville supports this philosophy and asks you to consider Tico Hanover. Tico Hanover paced as a 2-year-old in 156 and 1. He is by Albatross from the Thorpe Hanover mare Thorpe Marge. Standing in 1986 for a fee of $1,000, all foals are eligible to the Rich Ontario Sires Stakes. Tico Hanover and Wilson Farms of Tupperville, the new breed of winners.
Not all window and door manufacturers are the same. At Ducana, we are committed to providing you with the best quality products for your hard-earned dollars. Serving the Tri-County area for over a decade, we believe that when the crunch is on for high-quality, energy-efficient windows and doors, you owe it to yourself to check us out. Ducana, quality never felt so warm.
Looking for a new vehicle? What makes one car deal better than another car deal? Well, it's the same thing that makes one car dealer better than another car dealer. Service after the sale. At Rayom Chevrolet in LaSalle, service after the sale has been a tradition since 1931.
We've got great deals on trucks, too.
Rayom Chevrolet, 1 mile south of Windsor Raceway on the main street in LaSalle. The name beamed around the globe. General Instrument, setting the standard in satellite systems for home and industry. The world of television entertainment at your fingertips. Sports, movies, specials. Look for the name General Instrument, makers of the exciting new mesh dish antenna, offering outstanding performance, simplified installation, and durable construction. General Instrument, satellite TV systems for the world and beyond.
There are a lot of racetracks in Ontario generating millions of dollars in revenue. Revenue for business and communities and for government. Millions of dollars earned as a result of the efforts of horsemen, harness horsemen, the grooms, the drivers, the trainers, the owners. And who's been looking after their interests for the past 23 years? The Ontario Harness Horsemen's Association.
Just before we get on to our 6th race, we would like to talk to you a little bit about what is meant by paramutual wagering. There's a great deal of misconception whereby people who come to the racetrack think that they are wagering against the racetrack itself, and that simply is not the case. When you come to the racetrack, the term paramutual means that you are wagering against your other fellow patrons in attendance. With more on the story, here is Stan Bergstein.
Racetrack calculating rooms used to be populated by men with green visors on their foreheads, sharp pencils, and very sharp minds. The men who work in calculating rooms and in tote rooms, such as the one we're in now, still have sharp minds, but the visors and the sharp pencils are gone. This is what does the job now. We're in the computer age, and racetracks are very much caught up in that age. The calculations of prices and of odds and of payoffs are done by computers, big, reliable computers, with no room for fallibility and with backups to make sure that they are, in fact, infallible. This is a scene that the regular racegoer sees often, knows well, and understands fully. This is a scene that he does not get to view. We are in the totalizator room. As the money is wagered in the tote machines above, the information is fed through various cables into the computers, and 2 of them calculate the odds. One of them is a backup. There are line printers, and as the computers gather the information, the printers print it out, tote machine by tote machine throughout the plant, and there can be hundreds of them at the plant. All of that information printed by each machine. This track has inter-track wagering with another track, and this is the telephone modem system that brings the information in from the distant track. The computer sees it as simply another division at the track and digests that information accordingly. There are monitors which show the totalizator boards throughout the plant and make certain that the information displayed there is accurate and correct. And there are monitors that view the race action. Once the race starts, the tote machines are locked, the wagering is completed, and the printers print out the entire story of the wagering pattern by each machine, by totals, by denominations, and types of bets. When the horses head into the stretch, the computers are standing by, ready to calculate the prices. All they need to know is who wins the race. And as the winner's nose reaches the wire and the judges determine the order of finish, they flash it to the totalizator room. Once they declare that finish official, the information is fed into the computers. They calculate the prices instantaneously, post them on the totalizator boards, and you, hopefully, can cash your tickets.
This week we're concluding our three-part series on how to analyze the program. Now, in other weeks, we've given you the basic information like where to find the post position number, where to find the horse's name, and the horse's individual information. Now, the full name of the program is the Past Performance Program, so that's what we want to deal with tonight. Try to help you understand a little bit more about the 6 most recent past performance lines listed for each horse in the program. In this example that we have set across for you and enlarged via photocopying, here is what you can find about the most recent 6 past performance lines. Starting from the left on over, the date of the horse's most recent race, followed by the location of the racetrack, temperature outside that night. Right next to that is the track condition. Then the condition of the race, in this case non-winners of 4 Paramutual lifetime, the amount of purse money for the race, then the mile times as per the quarter splits in the race. Over here you find where the horse was positionally in the field for each of the quarter calls, also at the head of the stretch and the finish, and the horse's individual race time along with the top 3 in that race itself. So in analyzing then the past performance lines, the types of things to look for are whether a horse is going from an outside post position to an inside position tonight, as well as a whole host of other technical factors that have to do with the outcome of a race. Speaking of the outcome of a race, we have the 6th race on tap for you right now. Some good young horses in this field. It's for non-winners of 2 starts lifetime. And let's go up top now for the description of the 6th race with your Windsor Night at the Races announcer, Marty Adler.
In the 6th race, the number 1 horse, Amherst Eagle, is the favorite at 5-2 with Dave Wall. This horse is a ship-in from London. Now getting lots of action is the 8 horse Sweetwater Bow from the Jockey Club, and D.A. Dariel is finally in where he belongs, but he's got an outside 9 hole. He could be tough here as well. 6th race now moving through the backstretch. And there they go. They're off and pacing. In the center of the track, driving out for the lead is Tony's Texan. Tony's Texan charges out to take over. Moving up on the inside second is Dustin Justin. KM Dynamic on the outside third. D.A. Dariel charges up on the outside fourth as they move on around the top turn. With the lead now on the outside around the turn, it's KM Dynamic. On the outside now, second and going on to challenge is D.A. Dariel. D.A. Dariel now to take over the lead as the horses pace on to the quarter in 30-3. They're off the turn to the stretch the first time. D.A. Dariel opens up 2. KM Dynamic is second. Up on the outside, putting in a step or 2. That's Dallas Boy. Dallas Boy is roughing from the grandstand. Moving to the outside is Amherst Eagle. The horses pace to the clubhouse turn. D.A. Dariel on top by 2. KM Dynamic on the inside paces second. Down, moving up third is Tony's Texan. They're all over the track as they head for the half-mile pull with the lead by a length and a half. It's D.A. Dariel, the half in 1:03. Pacing on around the turn, D.A. Dariel, and here comes Amherst Eagle up on the outside. He's now taken over second. In at the rail, pacing third, KM Dynamic. On the outside, racing fourth is Tony's Texan. Fifth on the inside, down the backstretch, Dustin Justin. Then it's Sweetwater Bow. They're heading for the 3/4 pull. On the outside, by a nose, it's Amherst Eagle. On the inside, D.A. Dariel. D.A. Dariel comes back to regain the lead now, the 3/4 in 1:31-1. Pacing on around the turn, D.A. Dariel on top now by 2. KM Dynamic on the inside paces second. On the outside, Amherst Eagle fades a little bit as they pace around the turn. Coming from far back is Dustin Justin. They move off the turn and into the stretch. D.A. Dariel has the lead. Now KM Dynamic swings to the outside as they pace through the lane. Down to the wire, D.A. Dariel with KM Dynamic on the outside. It's D.A. Dariel and KM Dynamic up on the outside to get it all. The number 7 horse KM Dynamic wins it at 7-1, but that 9 horse DA Dario, I'll tell you right now, was the best horse in the race. He had trouble leaving the starting gate. He was backing him off, and then he decided to go to the front. Got roughed up in the first quarter. He'll be better next week with an inside post. Now here comes Kevin Wallace into the winner's circle with Harold Applebaum's KM Dynamic. He wins it up on the outside after getting the perfect trip and downing number 9, D.A. Dario, through the stretch. Finishing third, number 5, Dustin Justin. KM Dynamic returns 17, 10, 8, 50, 550. Don't want to take anything away from him. He's a fine colt, too. Number 9, D.A. Dario, 560, 440. And the 5-horse Dustin Justin, 350. The exactor, 103.20. The triactor paid $821.
That's about it for our show this week. Don't forget we're racing lots of days throughout the week, every week here at Windsor Raceway. Tuesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. And for those of you who can't wait for all of tonight's results for the news and free press in the morning, here is the Sportsline Racing Line phone number for you to call. It is, of course, the Detroit area code 313 and the number 976-2121. Now, on behalf of track publicist Ken Quinn, announcer Marty Adler, our producer-director Terry McDonald, and all the crew, thank you for joining us. Hope to see you again next Sunday night at 10 here on Pass. Good night from Windsor Raceway.
A Windsor Night at the Races has been brought to you